And it's just people that have a vested interest in Patrick. It's people that want to see you succeed. It's people in your corner.
Yeah.
And those aren't things that you just magically show up. You have to be a part of the community. These are people that are movers and shakers, fundamentally. It's just, it's a cool group to be around.
What's fascinating is the support level for each other is so cool. And most people haven't even met in person. And it's like they support
Yeah.
you more than your own closest friends. And obviously, there's an investment associated with it. It's an investment in yourself. But now that you've made that investment and felt the change, like how would you describe that level of ROI that you've gotten on that investment?
It pays off lickety split. And I would say you see it from day one
Yeah.
and you see it in your energy. And it's like, if you really try to put a price on your energy, it's like we talk about, like, if you knew you were 5 fails away from hitting tremendous success,
Yeah.
you would fail those 5 times
Right.
as quick as you could. And so it's like, in order to get into a group like this, and I've been around a lot of these thought leaders and stuff, and people that are really smart, but it's like, when you have people that are interested in you and supportive, you can't put a price on that necessarily.
All right. In the car with the boy Pat. We've got our first live testimonial.
Going live, baby.
Live from Sunset Strip in LA. So, Pat, tell everyone a little bit about who you are and ultimately what made you reach out and join Local Legends.
Yeah, my name's Pat. I live in Chicago. I've been working for a serial entrepreneur for about 5 years since I've been out of school. Been a really great experience, got a lot of exposure to a lot of different companies, a lot of different types of businesses too as well, a lot of different industries. I reached out to Toll and to the group, kind of looking for something more. I saw that I was seeing a lot of patterns in my life and I wanted them to change. And came across Cole and it was content and really finding the joy in life and finding that spark and getting that spark back. And I really think it's something that needs to be fostered and it needs to be really ingrained in your everyday life in order for you to go forward with it. And so this group has been nothing but that. It's been every day we're talking about what excites us, what brings us energy, what we have going on in our lives, what challenges. Yeah.
And before this at lunch, Pat and I were talking about how, because we both worked in the finance industry, and it's like when you grow up and you start going through, the real world starts to beat the spark out of you and you start to think in more of a one-track mind. And so I guess what would be helpful is like how you felt about yourself as you maybe weren't feeling like you had that same spark. I remember when we first talked, you remember being that version of you, then you became a shell of that self. So maybe talk about just that feeling that you felt of discontentment with who you were because of losing that spark.
Yeah, I think it's a common thing that happens to a lot of guys when they're 20s, when they leave school with big ideas in their head about how they're going to change the world. And I think that's industry and work and being in these really hyper productive but structured environments can be really challenging to innovate personally and to be creative. And I think in order to really feel like you're doing the best thing you can do, you got to get back to the basics of enjoying life. And you got to get back to the basics of what fills up the cup, what gives you energy, all the different things of that.
Yeah, because another thing that we were talking about and what Pat and I did a lot of work on is the same way. It's like you have this big problem in your life. Like you see the person you want to become and almost that gap between you worsens the problem because you attach to the work that you have to go or how you're not fulfilling your potential. And he was similar to me when I was in his shoes of, I really want to figure out this big plan for my career and build something, have this path. But Pat and I were excited to work on is you only get there by getting your spark back and getting back to enjoying life. So I would love if you could opine on your experience of how we actually did that. Like what in the modules really stuck out to you, how it changed your way of thinking and ultimately the energy shift that you felt. Because then we'll talk next about how being in this different headspace helps you get to the deeper questions and answers.
Yeah, I think as far as the modules go and as far as it's like when you get around a group of people that you get here, you can't help but walk away energized. And it's people that are looking to do something with their lives. It's people that are looking to ask questions. It's people that are willing to challenge the status quo. And I think for me, that really gives a lot of energy and it's adjusts your perspective. And talk a lot in our weekly calls about what we have going on in our lives and more so what we aspire to be and where we aspire to be at. And there's not a lot of areas in life where you can, like, in front of a group of people, say, this is what I want fundamentally. And this is what I don't want. And coming out of the modules, we spent a ton of time talking about creating a foundation for a joyous life and for love for what you do and gratitude for what you have going on. And I think in order really in life, in order to be grateful, you have to take the good and you have to take the bad and you have to take the everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then in like the journey of finding what you want out of life, it's a lot of obviously about who you know and that networking element. And just one of the fun things is, again, like I said at lunch, was he was telling me all these like one-off connections and friendships and networks that you've made from being in the community. So maybe talk about how that actually comes to life of you wanted to build this network for yourself, to expose yourself to new people and ideas, and how that's manifesting itself.
Yeah. It's a really open group of people who's willing to really talk about anything that you have going on. And I got guys all over the country now that you can call up and say, hey, this is what I'm all over the world now. Yeah. And all over the world. And they're very, like I said, they're very curious individuals. They're people that are not only invested in what they have going on, but they're invested in the community, in the overall forwarding of it. And so I just think these conversations that we have are, okay, what motivates you? What doesn't motivate you? How do you get to the next step of where you want to go? And so I think that's one of the really core parts of this group is that network. And the network and it's people from all these different industries, all these different ways and thoughts and education. And but our commonality is that we want more out of life. We want to be as present as possible and as fully engaged as possible. So
get the most out of it. So one thing for you that always stood out for me was, I remember in our first call, you were like, I really want to just take the leap in life, and not knowing what leap to take, but you're like, this is the first leap to take and I know I need to take it. And then, so I want to go back to now how you feel about just your own confidence in life, and now how you're making things happen, and you're now running these boats in Michigan and all that stuff, all just from getting in the habit and mindset of taking that first leap. Because even those questions that you're not talking about is making even more things happen, all just from changing that one
habit. Yeah. I think
because that's obviously what stops people, is taking that first leap.
The first one. And I believe fundamentally change compounds.
Yeah.
And so the more you make one decision, and then that leads you to the next one. It leads you to the next one. It leads you to the next one. And it makes it easier. And you can't take life we're just talking about this. You can't build Rome in one day.
Yeah.
You can't go and say, oh, I'm going to make 35 changes in my life in one day. And so what this group does, though, is it's a very easy way to say, I'm going to make one change. I'm going to change. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show up to a weekly call. I'm going to participate in the call. I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a module. And so then and you start working these things into your daily life, it becomes second nature. And in those things that are in the modules, like, for example, what gives you energy? What takes away energy? I might ask myself that question 20 times a day as I go throughout my day. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not really thinking about it. It's just like, it's just in the back of your head. And so that's how change happens. Everybody wants change to happen lickety split, but it's like real change. It takes time and it takes effort. Yeah.
Before we started recording this, someone in the chat was like talking about how they finally mustered up the courage to go approach this girl that's always in their yoga class. And we were like, that's so great and so fun. And then I was asking Pat a question, like, how can we do more to even make the community more immersive, more higher points of contact? And he was talking about just that, right? The first call you join, maybe you don't speak up that much, but the more you join, the more you start to get to talk to people, the more you reach out to different people and start building those own relationships. And that's what I was going to say about taking the leap, is that's what I push everyone, is like, you don't just magically become confident, but you get comfortable making yourself more uncomfortable. And then that's how you then start to do more things with your life. You reach out to that person, or you make the event happen. And so if there's anything for you to add on that topic of like, or maybe one thing for you is thinking in a linear path versus thinking bigger. That's what we were talking about at lunch. And now that you feel more confident and your confidence has grown and your network's grown, your confidence level and your ability to create the path that you truly desire in life from thinking bigger and differently.
Yeah, I think it really goes hand in hand. And building off what you were just saying, life is fundamentally practice. And if you want things to change, you have to practice change.
Yeah.
And
And you have to change.
and you have to change.
You
Yeah.
have to do something.
And I think what comes from the kind of confidence that we're trying to build here is it's deeply personal, and
Yeah.
it's we're focusing on talking about how can we make the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about too, like it isn't just about money. If we can make money half a million ways or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
and it's like really
All the
developing
money
these-
exists.
Yeah, all the money exists, but if we can make these decisions, and as we're in the infancy of our careers, about what we really want to do. And I think a tremendous amount of confidence comes from understanding, one, yourself, and then two, your conviction.
Yeah.
And I think if you understand your conviction and what you fundamentally want to be doing, which what you want to be,
Yeah.
it's like life becomes a lot easier and it becomes a lot more fun. And it's like, because you're doing what you
And then
wanna
it goes
do.
better.
Yeah.
'Cause
And then it gets better. And it
more
compounds.
confident, having
Yeah.
more fun. So you brought up some really good points, because it's one of the things is that you really wanted to figure out this bigger life purpose and plan
Mhm.
for yourself. And a lot of people have those same questions.
Yeah.
That is a solo journey.
Yeah.
That has to be your plan. I can't tell you your plan. It
Mhm.
would never be your plan. You have to
Yeah.
create it. And so I guess talk about how, because it obviously goes hand in hand. Like you have to be the one to arrive at your answers, but the process that helps you get there with the modules that makes you think differently. And if there's anything that stood out to you that helped you really feel like you're getting closer to creating and finding your own purpose.
Yeah. I think in today's day and age of social media, we get hammered with all different kinds of viewpoints and all different kinds of, oh, you need to do this, or this is the way to
This is
model
the
your
path.
life. This is the path. And it's like, nobody can really tell you that path except for you.
Yeah.
And no matter, if you ascribe to, oh, I'm going to do a cold plunge every single morning, that's fine. It works
Yeah.
for people and stuff. Is it really going to make me the best human being that I can be?
Yeah.
Probably not. And so when we look at the kind of repetition, though, of what is in these modules and what the group is really centered around, it's like these are kind of core aspects of life.
Yeah.
And they don't really go out of style. They don't really go out of, they're not a trend.
Yeah.
And so everything from reading books as a group to some of the different talks that we look at. And it's all, everything is very,
ideas.
yeah, it's all building on that. And yeah.
And then two final questions. Like, what would you say to someone who's thinking about joining, but on the fence about joining?
I'd say do it. One big thing that we talk about is like, what if it all goes right?
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those perfect examples. You're being surrounded by people that are asking questions.
Trying to
of
make
you.
it all go right.
Yeah, they're trying to make it all go right.
Yeah.
And they're encouraging things like fail as fast as you can. And so I would say if you're a 20-year-old, 22-year-old just out of school, if you're a 27-year-old who's trying to find what they really want out of life, if you're a 35-year-old, I think there's things here for everybody to really bite in and sink their teeth into the meat of this program and to join us.
I'm going to put the other question out on pause because you brought up a really good point. Talk about just the type of people, the quality of people, the diversity of people in there.
Yeah.
And how that's also, I know you get so much joy from talking to everyone up and down and of all different walks of life, and how that's just been fun for you.
Yeah. I would say the quality here is, it's like I said, it's people from all different industries, people from all different schools and trains of thought and countries,
Yeah.
as well. And it's just fundamentally, it's people that have a vested interest in Patrick. It's people that have a vested interest in Cole. It's people that want to see you succeed. It's people in your corner.
Yeah.
And those aren't things that you just magically show up. You have to be a part of the community, and you have to connect with them and support them too as well. You got guys that are starting up their own deal on the side and doing hangover cures. And then we got other guys that are trying to found hotels and all the different types of stuff. These are people that are movers and shakers, fundamentally. It's just, it's a cool group to be around.
What's fascinating is the support level for each other is so cool. And most people haven't even met in person. And it's like they support you more than your own closest friends. And obviously, there's an investment associated with it. It's an investment in
Yeah.
yourself. But now that you've made that investment and felt the change, like how would you describe that level of ROI that you've gotten on that investment?
It pays off lickety split. And I would say you see it from day one,
Yeah.
and you see it in your energy. And it's like, if you really try to put a price on your energy, it's like we talk about. Like, if you knew you were 5 fails away from hitting like a tremendous success,
Yeah.
you would fail those 5 times
Right.
as quick as you could. And so it's like, in order to get into a group like this, and I've been around a lot of these thought leaders and stuff, and people that are really smart. But it's like, when you have people that are interested in you and supportive, you can't put a price on that necessarily.
So what I always
So,
say is there's no price you
yeah.
can, because it's funny because it's an energy thing. You can't feel it until
Mhm.
you experience it. But it's
Yeah.
like from taking this pressure off yourself, from having fun, from being in that positive environment, that's what starts to just change everything and make it go your way.
Yeah.
So anything else we didn't cover that you'd like to add, or I
I'd
think
just
that's it?
say, this is a tremendous group, and it's a lot of guys that are just looking to do something in the world. And we got a pretty
That's
cool
why
guy
we'll
with us.
that's
So
why we'll do it. That's why we'll do it.
beautiful.